Hello, movie lovers. Welcome to another episode of the Does It Hold Up News. I'm Adam.
And I'm Emily.
And this week we're going to talk, obviously, the box office and a couple new things that just released. We're also going to have to say goodbye to one of the greatest actors of all time. Let's start, as always, with the box office. In first place, no surprise, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny with $60,368,101. A little bit lower than expected, but not a bad start. In second place is Elemental in its third week with $12,128,492 and only a 34% drop after just a 37% drop last week. So it's holding pretty well.
Isn't that its third week in the second spot?
Third week in the second spot. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then in third place, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse holding pretty well with another estimated $12 million in its fifth week. 37% drop, still good. In fourth place, same spot as last week, No Hard Feelings with another estimated $7.8 million and a 48% drop. Pretty good hold for a movie that is an R-rated comedy in summer.
Yeah, I was going to say, for an R-rated comedy, that's holding strong. Stronger than I thought it was going to.
Yeah. And then in same spot yet again, too, Transformers Rise of the Beast in the fifth spot with $7,353,892 and only another 37% drop.
It's holding strong.
All the top 5 movies had pretty good holds this week, and I think that's mostly because of the holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're doing something new this week. We are also going into the top 6 through 10 at the box office from the weekend as well. In sixth place, new to the list, is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, with $5,500,990. I'm pretty sure DreamWorks wanted more from that.
I almost expected more, but maybe because there's multiple kids' movies out right now, it has a lot of competition.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Elemental are definitely going to keep Ruby from making a lot more money. In seventh place is The Little Mermaid in week 6, with $5,392,817, and again, only a 37% drop.
It's holding stronger than I wanted it to.
This might be the last week we see it that high. I imagine next week it'll be towards the bottom of the list and then gone. This is a surprise. In the 8th place, in only its third week, is The Flash, with an estimated $5,231,000 and another huge drop, 65%. 72% last week, 65% this week.
Why are you so surprised by this?
It's a huge tentpole blockbuster movie.
But I had so much controversy around it that everyone who wanted to go see it saw it in the first weeks for any spoilers. And now everyone's like, why am I supporting that?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. In 9th place, in its third week, is Asteroid City with $4,276,925 and a 53% drop. That sounds about right. So this is technically its third week, but only its second week in wide release.
I was about to ask that, yeah.
So having a 53% drop isn't that surprising. It's a Wes Anderson film. All his fans go see it, and then you get a couple trickle in.
Yeah, I'm not a big Wes Anderson fan, so I don't understand the appeal.
Yeah. And then in 10th place, in its 9th week, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, still hanging around in that top 10. With $2,020,980 and a 42% drop.
Do you think this rose again after realizing that it's not going to come to digital or anything for at least another month?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start there. So the first thing is that Disney has changed up pretty much its streaming platform and how it's going to release movies. Movies used to be in theaters for about 45 days. Then you had about 3 weeks, and it came to Disney+. And they realized that a lot of their box office was slipping because people were just waiting to see it at home. And I know we were talking about this the other day, that they've now changed everything. They are going to do what?
They started it actually with Ant-Man. They release a digital copy about like a month or so after they pull it from theaters.
For purchase.
For purchase.
For purchase only.
Digital only for purchase. A month after that is when it goes digital. And then if it follows the same pattern as Ant-Man, the next day after the physical copy comes out, it comes out on Disney+. So you have to wait at least like 2 months to see it on Disney+.
Yeah, and quick correction. You said digital twice. So
Oh.
about a month after it goes out on digital for purchase, about a month after that, it goes to physical disc.
Yes.
And then the day after it's released on physical disc, it'll show up on Disney Plus. That's what they did for Ant-Man Quantumania.
It is scheduled. They haven't released Disney Plus dates for it yet, but they have released the digital and physical copy releases, and it's following that same pattern.
Exactly. So they're trying to extend that window out to get more people to go see it in theaters. If that's what they're doing, it's kind of working for Guardians. So we're going to follow along and see how that turns out. All right. Can we talk about The Flash again? I feel like we're just doing this every week now. It's just, what's going on with The Flash? Why is The Flash so bad?
Like you said, it's the big news story. It is being crushed at the box office when it really shouldn't have been.
Yeah. When movies like Ruby Gillman are beating it in only its third week, we got a big problem here.
Yeah.
So, can DC recover from this? Flash was supposed to restart their entire universe, and it was supposed to make them a ton of money. They were thinking this is going to be the biggest superhero movie DC has had since Batman v Superman, however long ago.
I mean, they kept touting it as much. It was the best superhero film of all time.
And now, not so much.
Not even
But
close.
let's take a look at their future in our first news thing, because it's a little bit weird, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to recover after all this, or what the future looks like for them. So, the only movie right now that currently has an actual release date of July 11th, 2025 is Superman Legacy. Great. Big, huge star, a character everybody knows, loves, and wants to see on the big screen. But not bringing back Henry Cavill for the movie might hurt that box office just a little bit. So hopefully they can keep that budget low. But then they're going to follow it up with The Authority, which is a ragtag group of basically anti-heroes.
So it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Correct, but a little more brutal. It's more like Suicide Squad mixed with Guardians of the Galaxy. Who the hell are these people? If you can't get the Flash right, one of the biggest stars of DC Comics, what hope is there for some D-list characters that no one's ever heard of? And I get it. Marvel did it with Iron Man, but Iron Man people had at least heard of. He had a cartoon in the 90s.
Yeah, he was always part of those Avengers cartoons as well.
Exactly. So I'm not sure why he thinks he can take a D-list character and turn it into something amazing.
Because he did Guardians of the Galaxy, but he doesn't realize he did that after the property, well, not the property, but the universe was already established.
Exactly. So the other movies they have coming are The Brave and the Bold, another Batman, but we also have The Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson, which isn't part of the main DCU storyline, but we're going to have two Batmans at the same time. Not sure that's a great choice.
Yeah.
I know we all love Batman, but let's just stick to one.
Just should have brought him over for Batman.
Because we also get Joker 2. Joaquin Phoenix is back as the Joker, but that's not part of the main continuity either. Nor is that part of the Batman continuity.
So
that's
unless
just a third universe.
So unless you are really going for a multiverse thing that you're going to collide at some point, you're just confusing your audience and expecting people to show up in different places. And especially if it's like, well, I really like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but now you're giving me this other Joker?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we're not getting another Joker as far as I know.
I'm just saying, if they want to continue with that universe and not bring in Joaquin, might get pissed.
Yeah, I just don't understand why we have 3 DC universes going. Then we have Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Great. That's a B-list character. You can prop her up. You can bring her to mainstream attention and get her popular. I'm okay with that one.
Although, something tells me I'll go the way of Batgirl.
No, I don't think so. I think Batgirl was canceled because of the takeover at DC, where this movie's because of the takeover at DC. Then we have Swamp Thing, who people know,
I
but
like Swamp Thing.
they aren't in love with Swamp Thing, and he's a really hard character to translate onto the screen. So that's going to be an interesting choice as well. And then that's it for the movies. They have 7 movies announced. We just kind of went through all of them, and 2 of them aren't even part of the main DCU story arcs. But here's where the problem lies as well. It's not just the movies. that if you can't get the Flash right, again, none of your movies have been doing well. So maybe this is why they've switched gears to TV shows a lot. Because for TV shows, they have Booster Gold, who is a C-list character. He was in the animated Justice League show. So anytime you're in medium outside of the comics, I have to put you into the C-list here because people might have heard of you at least. But he's getting a TV show. Then we're getting Lanterns, which is all about the Green Lanterns.
Okay.
Why is this not a movie? That's an A-list character that you could be building something around. Why is this a TV show?
Are they thinking it still has a bad taste in people's mouths from Ryan Reynolds?
Could be. Then we have Paradise Lost, which is a Wonder Woman story on Themyscira without Wonder Woman. It is a prequel long before Diana Prince ever existed on Themyscira. We're going to learn that story. It's going to be a Game of Thrones style thing. Not sure how that's going to
You had me until you got that part out.
Not sure how that's going to translate into the wider universe. Then we have 2 more TV shows. Waller, about Amanda Waller.
Of course.
Totally makes sense. She's been in a lot of movies. People know her. Use that.
And she seems like her story screams for a TV show.
Absolutely. She's got a lot going on. And then we have Creature Commandos, which again, some Z-list tier. Who cares? Nobody's ever heard of them. They're going to get a TV show. At least this one's going to be animated, though. So it's going to be a little more like a long Harley Quinn. But nothing about that slate screams success to me. Maybe Superman Legacy, because it'll be interesting and people might go see it to see what kind of car wreck it's going to end up being. But nothing here is like, we're trying to compete and be the top studio when it comes to superhero films.
Well, looking at that slate, honestly, I don't see a clear direction that they're going in. They're having the same issue almost as Marvel, where it's like, we're just going to put things out and hope it...
We'll try to connect them later and see what happens. Yeah.
I don't know. It just...
Yeah, their phase 1 feels a lot like Marvel's phase 4, which nobody cared about.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, we do have our new Superman and Lois Lane. This news broke slightly before last week's news. We didn't have a chance to put it into that one, so we wanted to kind of talk about it now. Superman is going to be David Corenswet. He's going to play Clark Kent Superman. And Rachel Brosnahan, I think is how you pronounce her name, is going to be Lois Lane. You know her as the star of The Marvelous Ms. Maisel, Patriots Day, and House of Cards. You know him from Pearl, which I haven't watched yet because I wasn't a huge fan of X.
Yeah.
I don't really need to see this character's origin. We Own This City, the TV show, and he was on 1 episode of House of Cards.
I don't know them from anything.
Yes. Well, you would know them maybe if you watch TV a lot more.
Yeah. Because
that seems to be where they're really coming from.
Which is fine. Like, you got to start somewhere.
And they look the part. They're not great. I really like Rachel Brosnahan because she's very attractive, but she's not your typical attractiveness. And I think that's what works for Lois Lane. She can look plain Jane, so she can get in to break these stories and nobody's going to look at her twice.
Yeah.
But she needs to be attractive enough that she can flirt and get through security or whatever at times. I think she's a perfect fit for that. She's a really good actress as well. Him, he's scrawny.
He's scrawny. He looks like Henry Cavill light. It's like he's the Wish version of Henry Cavill.
Which is just funny. If you're going to go that route, you're clearly demonstrating that Henry Cavill had the Superman look.
He was Superman. Yeah.
And now you're just like, but we can't use him, so here's a knockoff version of him.
You're too old now.
Doesn't really make any sense, but...
It is what it is. I'm more interested to see if he can get the muscle on, because it's like, eventually he's muscle bound. Like, even if it's not in this first story, he gets that way. Yeah. So...
We'll follow along and find out. All right, the next story is yours.
Yes, so... We all know Barbie is coming out. It is a Mattel property. Their toy line is Barbie. And apparently this has spurred on them to create 45 new movies based on their toy lines.
Well, they're not, they're being floated around.
Yes. They're in some form of development, whether or not it's just talks or they're already casting and all that stuff. The big one that everyone has been talking about is the new Barney movie.
Ooh, okay, I watched Barney growing up, so this makes sense.
I watched it a little bit. However, it is not a children's movie.
Okay.
A lot of the movies that they are making are not necessarily going to be for children.
It's an existential crisis
Yes.
movie where Barney is going to, I guess, realize maybe he's a guy in a suit and he's having an existential crisis that he's not a real dinosaur or something. We don't know the full story,
Yes.
so it's going to be interesting. But Daniel Kaluuya is pegged to play Barney.
Yes.
We might know him from Get Out and Nope and Black Panther, and that's going to be super interesting.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor.
This movie is made for like the 30-somethings. So
We'll see how this goes.
some of the other movies that they have kind of thought of for their properties is like Hot Wheels. We've seen some stuff for that. Polly Pocket,
Ooh,
which I had a lot as a kid. I had a whole bunch of them. But
I think that will be a good one.
I just have no idea how they're going to make that into a movie.
Doesn't matter.
He-Man makes a lot of sense.
Love He-Man.
And some weird ones like Magic 8 Ball and Uno. Although I know from what they said, Magic 8 Ball is supposed to be a horror.
Okay.
So they'll probably use a Magic 8 Ball. The killer is using the Magic 8 Ball to go, yeah, should I kill you? Try again later. Dang it. Yeah. That is my pitch for the Magic 8 Ball movie.
I would watch it.
I
I'm not
actually
gonna
would too.
I would watch it.
That one actually seems really interesting.
All right, next up is Quentin Tarantino did an interview recently, and he talked about Kill Bill Volume 3. I liked Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I didn't really need a Volume 3. I don't think there's much to go with that, which is good, because if you are a fan of those movies, don't get your hopes up. Tarantino has said there will not be a Kill Bill Volume 3. At least, not directed by him. It's possible that franchise could see a third movie with somebody else, but if you guys didn't know, Quentin Tarantino, when he first made Reservoir Dogs and came on the scene and everybody fell in love with him, he put a 10-movie limit on himself. He imposed that he would direct 10 films.
Why?
He just can. If you make great movies, you don't need to make 100 of them. You can still go down in history as one of the greatest filmmakers with a smaller filmography. Plus, if you've seen his movies, they take a lot of work. They are long movies. He writes all the scripts himself. He does all the shooting himself. Like, he puts everything he has into his movies. It drains him. So he takes years off between his movies. And he already knows his 10th movie. It's already being worked on. It's going to be his 10th and final film, a movie about a male film critic from the 1970s. I don't know. I'll be interested, though. His last one was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I enjoyed that movie. I think it was a little too long, but I liked it. But it is very interesting that these 10 movies kind of snuck up on us and that he's hit his limit. And our last news story is a sad one, unfortunately. Last Thursday, June 29th, 2023, we lost an amazingly talented actor, Alan Arkin. So Alan Arkin was a 4-time Oscar nominee and a 1-time winner for Best Supporting Actor in 2007's Little Miss Sunshine, which I know was a huge movie when it came out. People loved it. He was great. Everything he ever did. He was in The Rocketeer. He was in a bunch of other stuff too. Great actor. Hollywood is going to miss him, even though he hasn't been in anything in a while. Except that's a lie, because he just did a voice in Minions Rise of Gru.
Oh.
So he is still out there working. He was. And it's sad when we lose great talent.
Always.
That's all I got for the news. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm ready to see those new releases.
Excellent. So we got some new releases coming out this weekend. The first one is Insidious: The Red Door, which is the 5th installment in this franchise that I never thought would be a franchise. But this one is going to be directed by Patrick Wilson, the star of the first two. We're going to revisit the Lambert family from the first two to finally finish their story and go into the further, even deeper, so they can stop the demons from coming to get them. This is his first movie that he's ever directed.
So there's a chance it might not be good.
Yeah, but I love Patrick Wilson, so I will definitely check this movie out.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have a review up for it this weekend.
I have high hopes. I'm just trying to be realistic. It's always hard for feature debuts.
Yes. Well, I mean, Michael B. Jordan just did it earlier this year with Creed 3.
Yeah.
And people loved it. So we'll see. We're going to see. Next up is Joyride. A group of female friends travel through Asia looking for one of the friends' biological birth mother. And shenanigans happen. It's an R-rated comedy, and we know No Hard Feelings had a better than expected debut 2 weeks ago. and it held pretty well this past weekend. So, is there a place for another R-rated comedy? What do you think?
I think it's going to get more of the younger crowd than No Hard Feelings did.
Okay.
Because I know when we saw No Hard Feelings, the entire theater we were the youngest ones there.
Yeah.
So this might get a younger crowd interested in it. I'm both excited for this movie and not, because
Okay.
I like everyone who's in it. And then you get some drug jokes and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it stars Stephanie Sue from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ashley Park from Emily in Paris, Sherry Cola, who was the voice of one of the aunts, Aunt Helen, or Cousin Helen, in Turning Red, and newcomer Sabrina Wu, who this is her first role ever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll check it out. We do have tickets for it this weekend. I'm not sure we'll get a review up for it, but we will do our damnedest to do so. And the last one is a streaming movie called The Outlaws, starring Adam Devine from Pitch Perfect, Nina Dobrev from The Vampire Diaries, Pierce Brosnan, who was James Bond, and Ellen Barkin from Ocean's 13. This is a comedy, another comedy, about a bank manager who believes his future in-laws are notorious bank robbers.
I didn't know this movie was a thing coming
But it
out.
sounds kind of interesting.
It sounds really interesting. I'm interested in all the people that are in it.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely check this out. It starts streaming on Netflix this Friday, July 7th. So 3 movies all coming out this weekend, July 7th. Insidious: The Red Door, Joyride, The Outlaws. Tell us in the comments, which one are you most looking forward to and which one are you actually going to check out this weekend? That's it for us here. Thank you for joining us for the news yet again. We'll be back next week with some follow-ups to some of the news stories that we've already talked about and catching up with the box office. Until then, take care of yourself, be kind to others, and keep watching movies.
Bye.